Mangayane bus rank came to a standstill today as public transport operators clashed with their committee members. We have a report.
Public transport operators in Mangayane today locked the doors to the offices of the local transport committee at the Mangayane bus rank in the latest development in a dispute between the public transport operators and the local transport committee. The public transport operators attribute this action to poor working relations with the local transport committee, with the public transport operators stating that the chair of this local committee regularly hires his friends to conduct operations at the Mangayane bus rank without having the necessary permits.
Manyalo nikhelen lapha.
Nyalo dinengtimletende ski ugijima uthengisa abangani bebashayeli sisebenza nabo. Bathengisile sesivile information siphethe yonke sibadayiswe kuphi kanjani.
Lana itolo kufika abashayeli lapha e-office. Nathi ke bacela ngithathe konke lokune kwami. Kume nawo. Abali nawo. Bathi abasafunda committee lela e-office. Nangibuta ukuthi manje sizathu yini zokuthi manje ngiyafika committee. Bathi ke le committee le sekusebashayeli. Ihambe yaye PTF office yayokhuluma ukuthi abababoye ukuthi bashayeli babenda njani.
Yemaswati reporters were unable to get interviews with members of the local transport committee, but will continue to follow this story as it rolls out. For Yemaswati News, I'm Yemaswati in a report compiled by Nonhlanhla Mangayane.
In a shocking incident, a truck lost control today at Mhlaleni under the Manzini region and crashed inside apart motors in Gakhoza. We have a report.
Gakhoza residents awoke to a scene of horror and destruction after a horse and trailer truck crashed into a garage in the late hours of last night. The horse and truck trailer is said to have lost control and crashed into a Pack Motors garage at Gakhoza near the traffic lights, with 4 cars being damaged in the resulting accident. It is said that the driver was quickly rushed to hospital for medical assistance quickly following the accident. An eyewitness gives a detailed report of events as they transpired. For Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Yemaswati with Nonhlanhla and Nontobeko Tabete, Gakhoza.
Chief Police Information Officer Superintendent Fidile Vilagati, during an interview with our reporters in Babane, warned people, especially those with illegal firearms, to hand them over to the police and stop threatening the public. We have a report.
With cases of unauthorized gun possession on the rise in the kingdom, Chief Police Information and Communications Officer Superintendent Fidile Vilagati has today urged all Yemaswati to refrain from threatening other members of the public with unauthorized guns, and further urged members of the public who were in possession of such guns to turn them in to the Royal ESWATINI Police Service.
Emacala la fake khathi kusetshenziswa kwetibhamu solo aqhubeke njalo njengalokho siyabona ngelanga kuba nema-robbery cases la reportwa kwamaphoyiseni. Siyacela i7 ukuthi asibareport bonke labantu futhi kubonakala ukuthi banato tibhamu ngoba ngihola lata sebela bucala kulesinye isikhathi atawugcine still imata thina itola leto tibhamu. Sithumsa kakhulu ke nekukhandla kwamaphoyisa njengalokho enda tinhlobonhlobo tema patrols kutama ku radar yona indzaba yetibhamu kanjalo nema roadblocks la chubekako ngekwendile ukuthi kule mphekasonto nje desibuya kuyo tikhona tibhamu leting4 letigcine kutfolakala kuzo sive ngekubambisana ke sisasebenza njengalokho labanye bakhona laba babanjwe ngewemasoja. Siyacela siveze enkosi ukuthi asibambisaneni ukukhuda lokho ngoba lokucala bendeka la siphila khona futhi siyabati labantu labasuke bende lokucala. Singemaphoyisa ke siyagcizelela ekuthenini kusebenta kwethu vele kuncike kuko kusidwa ngiso sive kuze kuthi emacala siwende abe impumelelo baye etinkantolo labo labaganga. Kuleti gilamkhuba ke leti sebenzisa letibhamu asisho lokuthi singemaphoyisa vele angeke size silale sitawusolo njalo sibalandzela sigcine sibatholile kuze kuthi bato khona kuphendula ngaloko obucala kuphele kosatshiswa kwaso sive.
Superintendent Pile Velagati further stated that the Royal Eswatini Police Service were doing all in their power to ensure that no authorized gun remained in the possession of any member of the public. For Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Ginama Donsela with Zandi Lempapane, Kimberly Mavuso, and Tamalangeni Flamini. Mbawane.
As the farming season gets closer with the recent rains, Eswatini Environmental Affairs today in Mbabane warned farmers to be cautious of seeds that can be harmful to the environment. We have a report.
With rain plentiful and farmers across the nation preparing for the plowing season, the organization responsible for environmental concerns in the kingdom, the Eswatini Environment Authority, has today urged Yemaswati farmers to not utilize GMOs, and if so, they must apply for the necessary paperwork in order to cultivate these GMOs. This as per the Biosafety Act of 2012.
We've observed with concern as an authority that there are certain individual farmers who are now importing GMO seeds into the country, and they continue to plant them, yet there is a legislation that is prohibiting such. There are requirements with regard to GMO seeds in terms of applicants submitting a risk assessment, which is then evaluated by the National Biosafety Advisory Committee. This is to ensure that our genetic resource, they remain as they are, especially with regard to the maize crops. We know that we have got traditional varieties which might lead to gene transfer, especially during pollination.
Environment Information Officer Belusile Mhlanga further stated that severe punishments will be handed down to farmers who don't abide by this directive, and thus urged all Yemaswati farmers to be careful and mindful when buying seeds and crops from overseas. For Channel Yemaswati,
These are owned by government to educate them as to how they can be eligible for tenders and be able to work knowing their rights. We have a report.
The Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency has today held a meeting with several companies, both private and under government, to sensitize them on how best to procure government tenders. This meeting was held to sensitize the companies on the best paths they must take to procure these government tenders, ensuring that the transaction remain legal as well as respectful of both parties.
So what is it that we're doing here today is that we have actually organized a training for government suppliers who currently work with procurement entities, or I would say SOEs, central government ministries, as well as the local government as well. So it's a training that we have for them so that they're able to actually better position themselves or structure themselves and also equip them on how they can be better positioned to actually get opportunities for tenders. So it's actually a forum where we are discussing about procurement issues, public procurement issues, and some of those key issues that we'll be discussing today, it's the issues of their rights as suppliers, mostly because the Procurement Act 2011 has a right that has awarded as suppliers. So it's very important that they also know where to go where they feel aggrieved with regards to a procurement process. So it's one of the key issues that we will be discussing today.
For Channel Yemaswati News, I'm Ginama Donsela with Zandi Lempapane and Kimberly Mavuso Ezulwini.
What are some of the news we had for tonight? But before ending tonight's bulletin, let's take a quick recap of the stories making headlines tonight. The 77th United Nations General Assembly started at a high note today in New York, where His Majesty, the Lion of the Kingdom, is expected to deliver a speech at 3 p.m. New York time. Putema President Mlungisi Makhanya's house was petrol-bombed last night. Mangayane bus rank came to a standstill today as public transport operators clashed with their committee members. Well, that's all the news we had for tonight. Do have yourselves a beautiful evening. Good night.